Just a word with regard to what we are celebrating. A quote before we finish from the life of St. David from Rhickafarch, which is read in Wales on this day at the Office of Readings. When the field work is done, they return to the enclosure of the monastery to pass their time till evening at reading, writing, or in prayer. Then, when the signal is heard for evening prayer, everyone leaves what he is doing, and in silence, without any idle conversation, they make their way to church. When, with heart and voice attuned, they've completed the psalmody, they remain on their knees until stars appearing in the heaven bring day to its close. Yet, when all have done, the Father remains there, alone, making his own private prayer for the well-being of the Church. Shedding daily abundance of tears, offering daily his sweet-scented sacrifice of praise, aglow with an intensity of love, he consecrated with pure hands the fitting oblation of the Lord's body, and so, at the conclusion of the morning offices, attaining alone to the converse of angels. Then the whole day was spent undaunted and untired in teaching, praying, on his knees, caring for the brethren and for orphans and children and widows and everyone in need, for the weak and the sick, for travellers, and in feeding many. The rest of this stern way of life would be profitable to imitate, but the shortness of this account forbids our entering upon it. But in every way his life was ordered in imitation of the monks of Egypt. Which brings me to where I want to land, that in Ireland there is this direct link with the monastic East, and the structure of the monasteries was very similar to that of the Lavra of the East, simple cells dotted around and a more dignified church in the midst, which, by the way, is interesting in this particular place because, according to tradition, Duleek, meaning stone church, would be one of the first, if not the first, churches really built properly in stone in Ireland. And therefore we are very much in contact beyond the veil with that same grace which touches generation after generation the souls that say yes to Almighty God, of which the Gospel speaks, for that light gently burns where the heart gives it space. In that optic then, let us imitate these saints who did not separate into separate compartments that which was God's and that which was man's, but it was all one whole. Which gave them precisely their efficacy, their efficacious mode of operating, that they were never out of mode. It was all one, and therefore the Celtic monks were able to take all on board, which explains precisely the fruition that grace had in this land and all the lands touched by the Celtic movement. Saints then to be invoked as we come to the altar of God, for we know that they received their strength from this unchanging force which we have in this small chapel.